show you guys how to analyze the relationship between setting and character. So step one, identify keywords and phrases that describe the setting. So we're gonna look at setting first. Step two, identify keywords and phrases that characterize the character. Okay, so now we've looked at setting, we've looked at character. Now step three, we're gonna compare and contrast the character's setting to the characterization of that character to see if there are any trends that exist and what relationship those two entities have. Yeah? I'm going to show you guys an example of how to do that. So if you flip your do now page over, you will see all of these steps in the process. And you're going to go through them with me. I'm going to use two different colors, one for setting. Let's make that green. And let's make character black. So while I'm reading, we've already read this once, so we're going to read it again this time, looking for keywords that describe the what? Setting first. And while I'm reading, I want you guys to tell me which words to circle, and then we're going to do up, down, both, why for our annotation strategy. All right. So he had prayed the rain away.
Circle rain.
Okay. Up, down.
Down.
And for the 6th year, it was dry.
Circle dry.
Down.
Now, rain means what?
Sad.
And what about dry? Think about what that might mean.
Pour.
Possibly poor. Something not there, right? The grass turned yellow.
Circle. And that's up.
What is yellow?
You forgot grass.
Sunny. Goody.
What is yellow? So now let's look at our symbolism.
Caution.
Decay.
Decay. Caution or decay?
Decay.
In this case, yeah, decay. And it did not grow, right? Decay. Wherever he looked, Teo could see the consequences of his praying. The gray mule grew gaunt.
Gray and gaunt.
Now I
What
want you
that
to think
mean?
about the color gray.
What that mean?
I got the definition.
Let's think.
Fading.
Fading. Now let's think about gaunt. We know what gaunt means.
It means lean. Like lean.
And why would the mule be lean?
Because it's old. I don't know.
What? Now we're in the middle of what? The grass turned what?
The drought.
So and what do mules eat?
Grass.
So
It's starving.
starving. And the goat and kid had to wander farther and farther each day to find weeds or dry shrubs to eat.
Weeds.
What do weeds signify?
When evil. Wilderness. No, you said evil.
Outcast.
Wild.
Wow.
And shrubs, which are still go with this decay idea, right? To eat. In the evenings they waited for him, chewing their cuds by the shed door, and the mule stood by the gate with blind marble eyes. Blind. Up, down.
Down.
He threw them a little dusty hay
Dusty.
and sprinkled some cracked corn over it. The nanny crowded the kid away from the corn. The mule whinnied and leaned against the sagging gate.
Sagging.
What the gate is sagging?
It's old.
Yeah, things falling apart, right? Teo reached into the coffee can and he held some corn under the quivering lips. Quivering. Quivering signifies
Crying.
crying, right? When the corn was gone, the mule licked for the salt taste on his hand. The tongue was rough and wet, but it was also warm and precise across his fingers.
Can you say warm?
We sure can. Warm,
And rough. Rough.
rough. Now what does warm signify?
Hot.
It's getting hot.
You said something with sunshine, but
It could, now warm could be like nurturing,
near death.
or it could
Oh,
be
yeah.
that things are brewing
Yes.
and getting hotter. So
So
we'll figure out what that is. And rough. Up, down,
Down.
Down.
not smooth, right? But it was also warm and precise across his fingers. Teo looked at the long white hairs growing out of the lips like antennas. And he got the choking in his throat again, and he cried for all of them and for what he had done.
Choking.
Now we've done setting. You guys did a good job with setting. Now we need, what's step two? Identify keywords that show us characterization. So we're going to be looking specifically for Teo's characterization. So he had prayed the rain away.
Pray.
Right.
Okay, so what does this tell us about him that he's praying the rain away? Okay, he might be religious
He
or
doesn't want
spiritual.
the rain to be there.
He doesn't want the rain.
Yeah. Put something to make him think of something.
Now, y'all remember rain, it means sadness, right?
Yeah.
So what is he really trying to pray away, maybe?
Sadness.
Yes.
Sadness.
Okay, now down here, I'm just gonna go to the last two sentences. Teo looked at the long white hairs growing out of the lips like antennas, and he got the choking in his throat again.
Choking in his throat.
What does this maybe tell us about him?
Crying.
Maybe he's about to,
Cries or something?
yeah, maybe he's remembering something, but is he in a positive or negative emotional state?
Negative. But you told us not to say negative.
Right, right, so we're gonna be specific when we actually say what it is. And he cried for all of them and for what he had done.
Oh.
So he's crying, right?
Yeah.
For what did he do?
He was in
Killed
the war,
Jax.
so he killed people.
He killed people, but also what did he do?
Right.
So he is blaming himself for two things, and what are those things?
For him killing people and for the mule starving.
Right, for the drought and the death of innocent people. Now let's look at these two things and let's do one or a few words for setting and a few words for character. So setting, give me a few words that could describe setting. Can we elevate?
Depressing.
Depressing.
Great. Gone.
Okay.
Alright.
Evil. Where are we getting evil?
Chris, he
I want to
said
say
he killed
evil. I like when I said faded, but that's a great
Pushing
show.
up there.
Okay, now let's characterize Teo.
Remorseful.
Saddened.
Hmm?
Depressed.
Now, what is step
It's reminiscent of.
3? Compare and contrast the characters surrounding to his characterization. So what is this relationship?
They're both depressed.
Yeah.
So is it similar or different?
Similar.
Similar. So what word are we gonna say that the setting is doing and the character is doing together? What's their relationship?
It is similar.
They're coinciding,
Yes.
they're similar, the setting may be reflecting.
Yes.
So there are a lot of words you can use. Dramatizing his emotions, reflecting, illuminating his emotions, comparing. Now, what would be the difference if the setting looked like this, but the character was happy, bright, positive? Now for step 3, what do you do? What do you say? What is the setting in the character? Contrasting, right?
Because it's like he's trying to make something good out of something.
Right, right. So, step 4, how is the setting reflecting or impacting the character in this scene? We did that, it's reflecting. And in what ways? The character is, and the setting contributes to that by also showing signs of depression, right? It makes sense, right? Okay, so now you guys are gonna try this. How do y'all feel about trying it yourselves?
For 3 pages?
These 4 steps.
On what?
On what? So we're
Oh,
still
3 pages.
quicker.
That's a lot.
So we are still on the same pages, but I want y'all to separate it into 2 different chunks. The first chunk is going to be pages 13 to 15, and we're going to be looking at the setting of the hospital. And then the second chunk is going to be 15 to 17, and we're looking at the setting of the train station. And in the end, for our exit ticket, we should be able to write a literary response that tells us the relationship between the setting and the character. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, you get my
I'm gonna have to write all this.
Okay, you guys ready? We have 15 minutes. You do that in 15 minutes. First we are doing the hospital, and then we're doing the train station. All right, so I'll start the music and the timer.
What if the setting changes?
Then that also says something. Think about if the setting changes and does the character change or not? Yeah? Okay.